Welcome to 5 Minute Astrology. In this episode, number 4, we're going to look at how to find the houses within your birth chart. So far, we've created your chart and printed it off. We've looked at your 5 Minute Astrology quick map. We have looked at the planets and learned how to find them and recognize a few things about them. We've looked at the signs of the zodiac, starting from Aries, going right the way through to the sign of Pisces. In this episode, we're looking at the houses, and they are these little areas within the birth chart. There's 12 of them. They start here, and it looks like they're starting at 9 o'clock if you're looking at this as a clock face. And you can see the numbers in the middle of the chart, first, second, third, right the way through to the 12th. One of the things that I find quite interesting about birth charts and houses in particular is that sometimes the houses are completely different in size. Now, you can't see this with this particular example, but for instance, you might be looking at your chart and notice that the second and the eighth houses are quite big, and that the fifth and the 11th houses are quite small. Now, don't worry about that. That's completely normal. And it's dependent on the house system that you're using. There are various forms of calculating charts, and these are all done by computers, and they're all from slightly different traditions, but that's completely normal. This is always dependent on where you were born and the time that you were born. Now, this chart that I've got here is using a Placidus charting system, and you might have whole sign, which is I would say the next most popular one. Placidus is often the default. It's definitely the default on astro.com. So your chart might be slightly different to mine as it's showing here, but it's completely normal. Another thing to notice and observe about the houses is that they work in pairs. So for instance, where one side of the chart, like here, we've got the first house and we've got the seventh house, that is the equal and opposite. Like these are working together. The fourth and the 10th are working together. So the first house is all about you and yourself and identity and approach to life. The seventh is all about your relationships and partnerships and others, but also their approach to life. So you see, they are like two wings on a butterfly. They are representing the left and the right. What we've learned is they describe where things are happening, how a planet is behaving, and they also show the paradoxes and what's happening here versus what's happening over there. This is where I want to bring in a new analogy. You see, on the 5 Minute Astrology quick map, it says the signs of the zodiac are describing the how, the planets are the who, and the houses are where. It's a bit like Cluedo. It's Professor Plum in the library with the candlestick, so it's not necessarily describing a crime, but it's describing how your personality and your life experience has evolved through the different parts of your personality. Like here, we've got Uranus, which is the part of you that wants to feel free and independent and unusual and potentially eccentric and wild and liberated. And so that's the who, that's the part of you. We've got the first house, which is about self identity. Let's make that bigger, an approach to life. And we've got it in the sign of Scorpio. So with the houses, you start to see the different rooms in your house. If you think of your house, you have a hallway, you probably have a kitchen, a bedroom, a lounge, and they all have a different purpose. And similarly, these houses all represent a different part of your life. And as you get to know them and get to see each of these houses, you'll start to understand how your map is coded. For instance, is there a part of your chart that is full of planets? Is there a part of the chart where you've got empty houses? So as we learn more over the coming days, weeks, and months, this is going to start to make sense. There's going to be a lot more emphasis put on here. For now, though, it's just important that you can see the houses and understand that houses show where things are happening in your chart. In the next episode, we're going to have a look at the angles of the birth chart, and we're going to hear a lot more about how things are getting activated. See you in the next one.